Shabloom. Hello, friends, and welcome to M3 Live, Not So Live, number 8, from Barkers and Boxcars. I fucked the title up on the screen. So we're gonna do it. So from Barkers and Boxcars, I'm leaving it with Tyler Cetera, part 2 of our Blink-182 deep dive, whatever you want to call it, series. And this is now 5 parts. We put 4, but nope, that's done.
My brain hurts from the amount of research I did just for this second episode.
Mm-hmm. I have
Callie,
pages in front of
Callie's
me.
definitely sick of listening to me talk about it for sure.
I had a video sent to me by one of you guys, and it's you sitting on your like backyard, your porch, whatever, just ruminating, just kind of staring off into the distance, like about Blink-182 in Australia. And it is Callie. Callie's videotaping you, and I could just see like the pain in your eyes. Like you've gone too far. You've gone too deep. And we need you to go deeper.
Well, I'm here. I have all of my notes. I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, oh my. We are covering, so we decided to chop it up a little bit more. So we, on our last episode, which was M3 Live number, I got to actually look it up again real quick.
69.
I don't mind doing it as long as I keep talking. Everyone's a winner here. I don't know. That was one of them.
Last one was the last one Frank? Or no, that was 2 ago, right?
Frank was 6, so you were 5. That's right. M3 Live, I think, was number 5. You'll see him on there though. The Raynor years with Tyler Cetera. That was our first part. We covered Cheshire Cat. Well, the formation through Cheshire Cat and Damn It. We're gonna be doing Enema of the State live album. Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, and Boxcar Racer era in this little part. So, sir, let's just kick it right off. Enema of the State, you claimed at the beginning it's your favorite album. It was, I got my notes up here, so they go in with Jerry Flynn.
Jerry Finn,
good God, my notes are all fucked up. So they go in with Jerry Finn. What were you able to find out?
They go edit it now.
Yeah, I'm editing. You see it. What can you tell me though about the recording process that you were able to find in your treasure trove of notes?
Like I said, these are the Jerry Finn days. These are the glory days. He was essentially named the fourth Blink member because they made all their best music with him. He was also hot off of Green Day doing Dookie, so he was kind of hot shit at the time anyways.
Right.
And I mean, this one sold like 15 million copies. And this was the first album where they got to take their time. So they had 4 months of recording, whereas I think Dude Ranch was like 3 weeks. Buddha was like 5 days. So they actually had a good amount of time. And they wrote about all the same stuff, autobiographical. There you go.
Nobody likes when you're 23.
Yeah, and friend stories and stuff like that.
Well, you said,
yeah, I mean,
it's so slick. It's all like that. This is the first time they worked with Finn, or was he on Dude Ranch? Like, all right, you can tell like Dude Ranch is a pretty slick album, but it's still rough around the edges. Enema, I feel like the reason it got shit is because it almost sounded too good for punk rock. It's just so refined, and I can't really find the words for it, but just well produced and well done.
Yeah, it was. I mean, by far their pretty astounding album for sure, and it was. I mean, because they got to take their time, especially, and they actually had money. They didn't have money really before, so this is the selling out record when they joined MCA that people were all pissed about, and Blink at first were in love with MCA, but later on we'll kind of go over how MCA started fucking them a little bit, and
right.
shit just gets sour with them. But yeah, there's let's see. I mean, this album went 5 times platinum. Like, it's
insane.
They sold so many records with
Well, here you have a funny note in here about it, and I kind of want to go into just the release and like how quickly they fucking catapulted. They were apparently, you said, they're on tour with Lagwagon in Europe when sales were booming, and Joey Cape was like, "Why are you here? You're selling 90,000 records a week. Go home."
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah, because they were touring with like Pennywise, Live. They were opening for all of the like huge punk bands at the time, and everybody was kind of like, "Why are you still slumming it with us?"
Yeah,
Like,
you
but
need to go
yeah,
up.
whatever Joey Cape saying, I was just like, "Get the fuck out of here! It's like,
All
why are
right,
you with us?" It's like I appreciate the ticket sales, but just go ahead and get out.
all right.
And
Well, let's dive into the music a little bit. Of course, Travis Barker has joined the band at this point. We kind of covered that in the last episode. They, for more or less, for lack of a better term, traded up. I mean, it's blatantly obvious.
very much traded up.
Yeah, they just kind of wanted to move on, so they added that sort of trio of superstardom. Um,
I mean, did we go over why Rainer got kicked out?
we did. We touched. I don't think we touched on it. So I feel like it would make sense to cover because this is after the damn. This is after the damn
Yeah.
years. So what do you got for me there?
So basically, it was a ton of things. He he wasn't necessarily a fan of joining MCA, and he was. I mean, they were touring nonstop, and that was weighing on everybody. And he wanted to go to college and not live in a van 9 months out of the year. So he was drinking, which was a huge part of it. And he was trying to go to school at the same time, and it's kind of a bunch of different things, but it was kind of fucked up. So they didn't necessarily kick him out at first. They were essentially like, go to rehab and get clean. And during that time is basically when the famous story of Travis Barker he learned Blink set in 45 minutes.
The legend.
Because there, I don't know if they were open for the Acrobats or who was open. I think they were just on the same show, but they learned their set in 45 minutes. And there's a note from one of the guitar players, the Acrobats, and they're just like, we were in the crowd and we watched him play, and we should have started looking for a drummer right there because we knew we're like, oh shit,
He's
like
gone.
he is in this band. Like, he's not. He doesn't belong with us. He belongs in this band. We just get him out. But when Rainer got out of rehab and kind of came back, they just essentially were like, oh no, never mind. We're gonna go with Travis. And they kind of fucked him a little bit. But
Yeah, you could tell.
I mean, trade up,
Yeah, nah. I mean, with music, it's business. I mean, at a certain point, like I understand it is friends, but when you're actually doing it for a living, like, talent's you gotta keep up, man. Like,
Yeah.
but I do want to ask, so real quick though, Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
I want to. So based on like the video that your partner sent me of you were talking about Blink in Australia, okay, which is apparently where they got big first, correct?
Yeah, I mean, other than like Southern California, Australia, they did really well in, and that was really just because of Pennywise. I don't know if it was just Pennywise or a couple of bands, but they didn't have the money to go tour in Australia, so other bands fronted the money. I'm pretty sure it's just the guy from Pennywise fronted the money for them to get to Australia and tour with them, and it went well, and they kept going back. I guess everybody loved their humor because all the musicians down there were just like, how are these children here playing instruments? Just like they're pretty bad musically.
The humor's rough,
but everybody liked their.
They seem like they were probably well liked, but like I was watching the Big Day Out 2000 performance, which you could probably say like that was their biggest show to date. Like that was they probably never played a fucking stadium before.
Oh yeah,
I'm willing to assume that. And they went up there, and it was actually like it was a good set. It was tight. Like at this point, they were pretty tight. Like people forget they around the Enema they had pretty much gotten rock solid with their live show, as good as they could at least. and they go out there for the big day out, and they act like it was. I kind of cringed, and I felt bad because I used to think it was the funniest shit in the world. But man, like they just didn't age well. It didn't.
Just some of the comments. So I found an interview with Mark and Tom from the Neighborhoods years, and it was like with the K Rock guys, and they were asking them about like, hey, have your children seen your old videos and your old shows? And they were like, God no. Like honestly, Mark, I think it was Mark said it. He was like, hasn't aged well. I can tell you that.
Dude, they just go out there. It feels like they just say the first things that come to their head without thinking about it. Just,
yeah.
hey, I fucked your mom, farts, balls, my dad ate me. You know, like it's just. And they went up there and they're in front of the biggest crowd ever, and they're killing it, and they have these really nice songs, and then between every single song, they're just acting like fucking children, and I'm like, man.
Tom said at one point that one of the reasons he liked to play those songs so fast, he was like, I forget, I think it was like before like Boxcar age was there. I forget, I don't even remember. I've seen so many interviews, but he was just like, oh yeah, he was like, it used to be before. I just wanted to play the song as fast as I could and get it over with, so I could just start talking and say ridiculous stuff. He was like, that was the part of the show I enjoyed the most.
Right.
He was like, I could care less about the songs.
Right.
There's a naked boy in the background.
Your son just came out with big Barker energy. He has to look down at everything. Barker, he is very much like Randy from Trailer Park Boys, where they just cannot get a shirt on that guy.
Yeah, no, he won't. He never does.
No, so but they kind of blow up in Australia. But like, do you have any notes? Like, when did the United States success come quickly, or was that something that came a little later?
I mean, pretty much as soon as they dropped Anima. Well, Anima came out, and they. Was it this one? No, there was the album before there. Basically, once What's My Age came out, they just exploded. They were already they were selling good before then, but once they started pumping out videos, I mean, the singles in order were What's My Age Again, Small Things, Adam Song, all three bangers, especially when it came to like, this is when TRL was crucial. If you were not on TRL, you weren't necessarily hitting them multi-platinum status.
Yeah, no, and, that was a cultural staple. Like it really was. We forget about it. We don't watch TV anymore.
They got whored out on TRL. I think like every time they were on there, they just asked them, was like, "You guys gonna get naked? You gonna get naked?" Which I think Mark loved getting naked, but Tom wasn't the naked guy. He didn't like getting naked, but Mark forced everybody's hand essentially. Because he always got naked, so they expected the whole band to be naked all the time.
If I get naked, then everyone has to get naked. It sounds like a bachelor party.
Oh God!
All right.
Yeah. Oh.
I do want to talk. So before we do want to dive into the album, overrated, underrated tracks, favorite tracks, and then we have a new game. We have a new segment on the show here, which I'm actually pretty excited about. We'll save it though, because we even have a nice graphic that Tyler ripped up for us. Death by PowerPoint. Here we go.
See, well, I got a couple other recording facts I can throw out before we get to that stuff too.
Yeah, no, I want to. We have Barker facts as well. There's fun facts.
Fun facts about everybody.
But I do want to real quick. I want to touch on. So the alternative album names are fucking cracking me up.
Oh, dude.
Turn Your Head and Cough. Now, is this one Blink-182, Electric Boogaloo?
Oh no, sorry, it was Blink. It was just supposed to be Blink-182, Electric Boogaloo.
I would have fucking loved that.
Oh yeah, it was. And then the Viking Wizard Eyes was the other one. And then fun fact, they ended up taking that name later on for the Dogs Eating Dogs album because they weren't on a label, and they created a label called Viking Wizard Eyes. So that was what they ended up using for their record label.
I forgot about dogs eating dogs and how much I love that. I can't wait. I forgot we get to cover that too later on.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of like in between stuff that we kind of get to cover. And but Rainer actually did record a song on this album before they went into the studio. There was a recording of Mutt that he played drums on, and they used it for like a surf film. Obviously, they didn't use it for anywhere, but they it exists out there in the world.
Right. Now I have some fun Travis Barker facts that you've laid out for us here, and a couple of these intrigue me, and I need to know more. All right, so we all know that the 45 minutes to learn the whole set leaves the Aquabats. All right, did Travis Barker really not get any songwriting credits because he was technically a hired musician?
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, I think they knew he was going to be in the band, but they also still had to deal with Scott Raynor and I think trying to figure out legal parts. But I mean, he wrote, he was a part of writing every song. He was a huge because Tom, like in the beginning, Tom was writing all the songs, and actually Travis got kind of fed up and was just like, dude, can you write something different? Because all this stuff's going at the same, tempo, and it's all the same stuff. It's just getting very repetitive. And he was like, dude, I'm just the guitar player and the singer. Like, you're the beat man. Like, make the beats. Like, I don't know tempos and stuff like that. It's like, you do that, and then I'll work fit stuff to you.
We've heard that complaint from friends of ours in the past. It's very relatable. You fucking drummers are greedy. You just take from us poor rhythm section people. But that's all.
Could be better.
No, dude, fuck you. But you have here. So Travis Barker, he recorded the parts. I mean, so they spent months, kind of putting this album together and recording it. But was Barker spending months and months with them trying to write these songs, or did he do his stuff pretty quickly?
No, he did most of his stuff pretty much in just an 8-hour session. And then he kind of every now and then, I think they tapped him in just to fix stuff here and there, especially if they were because they were still changing and writing songs too. Right. But for the most part, I mean, that's most of everything he's ever done. He records everything in one session and then leaves and moves on to the next hip hop artist.
Streams it.
Yeah, he just walks from room to room. And but when he was recording, he kept fucking with Jerry Finn and adding the vibra slaps. He was and Jerry Finn hated them. Stop putting those in there. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, famous. What's Travis Barker doing with his clothing line in 1999? Is he famous enough to launch something like that at this point? Does it affect with the music at all, or cause people forget famous stars and straps?
It's still going.
Yeah,
I mean, he still has it.
Did he? Start that with anyone
I think
else?
he was the first. No, that one. I'm pretty sure he started that one by himself. I looked into it a little bit. There wasn't a whole ton on, and I just didn't dive that way very hard. But I think he was the first one to start a company. Mm-hmm. But he's always been about the hustle. He just hustles all the time, constantly.
Right.
So the other two start all their business, in a year or two. But he was the first one that kind of went in and was just all right, I'm gonna. Especially, if he's not getting songwriting credits either, he's got to start cashing in as much as he can.
Fuck yeah, dude!
He was a garbage man. He was a garbage man before all this.
Which people forget, though. That could be a very lucrative job if you do it right. If you're there for long enough. But I think being, Travis Barker is a bit more. It's a bit better, I'd say.
Yeah.
Let's move on, though. We have some fun Tom facts we want to get through here during this era. So apparently he won an album that was nursery rhymes on steroids. I like that. I feel like that's what this was. Na 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 na.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was kind of all of his songs. He kind of said that forever, but he really pushed that on this one. He wanted, especially because he just did want the polished sound, and he was like, why can't we have that. Ramones did it, Sex Pistols did it. Why can't we have because they were the same deal, kind of nursery rhymes on steroids and polished and made it big. So we're like, I just want to do, we can do that. It's like, fuck it.
Well, you can tell that like their influences kind of come into it, and people forget about that because so many people were influenced by Blink-182. Like when you hear bands like, and I put the Blink-182, like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, shit like that, Green Day, they make their own sound so much that you forget like who influenced them, like where did their inspirations come from. And apparently Tom DeLonge, much like the two of us, loved Punk and Drublic by NoFX, who a lot of people don't give them that credit. They're tight as shit, and their records, reflect that tightness if they're not shit-faced while they're playing.
Side note, they just put out a live version of The Decline at Red Rocks, and it's fantastic with an orchestra. So there's a plug. Go check that out.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know about that, so I need to go check that out. NoFX they're a band I get hot. I don't mind deviating really quick. All right, they're a band I get really hot and cold on. Fat Mike is very interesting to me. He is. I used to think all of his behavior was cool and funny and punk rock, and then things change in your life, and you start going like, well, like I watched Backstage Passport, and it's like, Mike, you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to.
I've heard so many horror stories from all the smaller bands on the labels who just have nothing but nightmare stories of dealing with it.
Yeah, Tom has, it wasn't anything crazy, but he had an experience with Fat Mike, and I need to get that podcast. It's somewhere. It's one of those things I have to pay SoundCloud to get back.
Goddamn shysters.
Yeah, that and the Man Bear Pig interview, which was my defining podcast moment.
The Man Bear Pig interview.
Yeah, that one guy, Nick Hodge, whatever. I don't know. The loon.
That was a great interview.
It was. We're plugging stuff that I'm gonna have a tough time retrieving, but I swear I'll get it back. I swear to God.
So much yelling.
Like you guys don't understand. We've gotten away from Blink-182. We'll get back on track, but I'm leaving this in because this is foreshadowing for something that I have that I can find. The fellow named Man Bear Pig was my greatest. It was 2 minutes. That's all I got out of him before he moved on. But I had 2 minutes of this guy's time, and my God, did he make the most of it. To be continued. Anyway, moving on. So I like this note you added, and I didn't know this, and I think it's a really cool moment because The Offspring was big. 93, 94 is when they first started kind of popping through.
Yeah,
something like that. Like I remember, 94 was like they had albums all through the 90s, but that was when I first not me, but that's the oldest sort of mainstream recognition I can see them with. Apparently, Noodles from The Offspring went up to Tom and just said, "You're next." I'm guessing that means like it's a passing of the torch type of situation.
Oh yeah, Tom was pretty stoked about that. Yeah, it's the big release part. I guess they were on the same label. I guess they were on MTA. Actually, didn't check it out. I don't know why they're at the same party, but they all play with each other. The punk scene was all together and everything.
Just because you're not on the same label, you'll end up on the same bill. I mean,
yeah.
But Tom, that I think that's always a nice gesture when you see talent. And you're at even if you're not that well known, if you're a veteran, if you've been around for a while, you should acknowledge younger talent. And you should walk up to them and be like, "Hey, that was really good." Like, it's good to give constructive criticism, but every now and again, just go up to someone and be like, "Hey, that was fucking good. That was really good."
And which is funny because actually, what year did Americana come out? Spring. That had to have been around the same time. So they were.
I can look that up.
Offspring was also probably blowing up at this point too. I mean, blowing up even more. I think, Americana. I think pretty sure that was the first. I think that was my introduction to their.
Oh, so they had Americana that came out in '98.
Okay, so this is the year before because Enema is '99.
Well, let's see though. Club Me, Smash. I guess I saw like. Yeah, like Self-Esteem was on the 1994 album.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like that. That
But
was they had already
I
pretty
mean,
much established themselves. I think that was a big hit for them.
it's no pretty fly for a white guy, but
No, but they were already through. I feel like by '99 they've already spent 5 years. Oh, dude, Come Out and Play was also on the '94 album.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they've
so
been around a little while.
yeah, and they had. I'm looking back now. This is actually started. They had their first studio album come out in 1989.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, so that's some. Their first single came out in 1986. So I feel like they did have a lot of years in the tank at that point. So that statement's fitting.
Man, good for them for hanging on, you know?
That's a long time. I mean, look at
That's a
look at
long
Descendants.
career. Especially for that dude. How he sings, or the noodles, how he sings. It's so
Is Noodles? I think Noodles
very
is the
high.
guitar player, isn't he?
Is that the guard to play? I actually don't remember the
Dexter.
guy's name.
Dexter. Yeah,
Yes,
he's the lead
yes,
singer, and he's the
Dexter.
doctor. He's the one who's like him and
Yeah.
Milo are fucking nerds.
Isn't he like a pilot too?
I
I
don't
think he
fucking
did the
know.
I think he did the Iron Maiden thing where he got his pilot's license and like flew him around.
How do people do? How are they just so good at shit? That's annoying.
I don't know.
All
All
right.
right,
Well, let's move on.
rewind.
Mark facts. Mark facts. Mark facts.
Mark facts.
This is see, this is fun. I like this. So you have written here going away to college and don't leave me were 10 minutes. They were written in 10 minutes. Excuse me.
At this point, after all the research I've done, I'm gonna say Mark is famous for writing 10-minute songs. I cannot tell you how many songs I found that he just wrote in 10 minutes and walked away, and they're great songs.
Right.
Yeah, the going away to college one was fun. I think he was watching Can't Hardly Wait,
Hold on.
and
Sorry, I fucked up. Dude, I dropped my vape pen on my computer and it started playing Dysentery Gary. That's fucking fake.
it's all going to shit.
All right. Anyway, but continue, sir. I apologize. 10-minute songs. He's famous.
Oh yeah, 10-minute songs, and he was watching Can't Hardly Wait, and that it's about like college and everybody going away. So going away to college, and that's how he wrote that. And Don't Leave Me. He didn't necessarily. I didn't see anything about anything specific that inspired him. But funny story. I dated a girl, and she went on a trip with a friend, so the guy, and the song is about. It's about somebody having a crush on somebody that you're not supposed to because they probably have like a boyfriend or something. And this dude in the middle of the trip, apparently put like the headphones, like shared headphones with her, and put on this song and just like made eye contact and like was pushing this like oh, we're not supposed to do this. She came home and told me about it, and I was like, oh my fucking god.
That's pretty
Like,
crazy.
how could you use my band against me?
Dude, but that's still lame. That's like holding up the jukebox outside of the house. Like, don't use a song to communicate your feelings to someone unless you wrote that shit.
Yeah,
Mixtapes are dead.
Let's see. Oh, other Mark facts. Adam's song. They were touring so much. Good God, the tour logs I saw. They'd be home for like a week and then just leave for 9 months. And that happened all the time. So Adam's song was about his sadness on the road and just it made him kind of sad. And they actually weren't even sure if they were going to put that on the record because everybody was like, this sounds kind of a fucking downer. Like,
chill out.
Do we put this on there? And of course, obviously it became probably one of the biggest songs off that album. He did the take his vocals on Adam's song, did it one time, and that's the vocals you hear. He just nailed it. Nailed it on one try.
Well, sometimes you just know, but doing the one take is hard because in the studio you get so in your own head. You get so in your fucking head, and you'll fuck up like one part 10 times, and it just becomes this impossible hill to climb.
Yeah, I remember you and me when we were doing vocals. I hate it. I go back and listen to one of the songs we recorded. I'm like, Man, I wish I just scrapped it all and started over again.
You know, what I loved when I was in Night Owl, Adam just was like, "Yo, I just did them myself, dog." They were great, and I remember like when I was young, I was like, "Man, fuck you! I helped you write those harmonies," but then I was like, "No, I didn't." These are really good, and I'm glad I didn't have to go through the bullshit. Just going in and banging out the bass was awesome. I did it a little bit like with Maddie's record. I just did a lot of the bass, but the backups they were easy because it's backups, you know.
Yeah.
Oohs and ahs and shit, but like actually doing real harmonies, man, fuck.
I remember when we went and sat for like the Wise Eyes vocals. I wasn't even doing vocals, and
Mm.
like we went to like our it was a Seth's. We went to his like small office in
Mm-hmm.
Annapolis,
Taking,
and
yeah.
that cramped room, and I was like, I'm not even singing, and I still sat in. It was so hot and long. I
You
was
can
like,
listen,
I finished my drum parts weeks ago.
dude. You were done so early, and you're one more of our personal vein, salty veteran stories before we move back on. But we were if you listen, we were in a band called Wise Eyes. We did a record called Empath. It's on Spotify. Go ahead and listen to it. It's awesome. There's a song we did. It was called Upside Down. And there's, one. You remember the basket case neatly placed. We were told to yell it. It was like a yell part. And I was so annoyed. I was in such a shit mood, and we did it one time. And I just went basket case neatly placed, and I like bust open the door to the bathroom. Just you know what I mean? Just like that, boom, because it was bathroom doors right next to us. And Seth was so pissed off at me. And he left it though. Like that's the fucking take.
It was a solid take.
It
I
was.
like it. That's a great part of the song.
Dude,
Sounds like a crazy person.
yeah, absolutely. It's my favorite part. But we'll move back on to the subject at hand, which is Blink-182, and now it's time for our new special segment, which we have prepared. As in Tyler has prepared graphics. I just slotted them into OBS. Who won the album game?
Hey!
If you're listening on the audio feed, sorry, nerd.
Well, we can talk about it a little bit.
Well, yes, we shall. So we have this lovely, lovely picture up here. We have Mark Hoppus on the left, Tom DeLonge on the right. And their tracks, they each had six each for
Oh,
the lead
yeah.
vocals.
Yeah, this album, they actually had even amounts, so that worked out.
Right. Now let's, man, let's start with you. Actually, before we do who won the album, I think it'd be more fun. Let's talk our favorite tracks, underrated tracks, and hey, if you got an overrated track, go ahead and throw it in there. But I'll let you lead it off. What's your favorite?
All right. My favorite track. I mean, it's funny because it's a real tough. It's between Dumpweed and Adam's song. I love a good intro song to an album.
Oh, yeah.
I think I said Pathetic might have been one. I think I said that was my favorite song on Dude Ranch. I love starting off an album at full tilt, and Dumpweed is a great start. But Adam's song, it was such a big departure, and that's probably the one I listen to the most off this album when I just like pick random songs.
Yeah.
It's
right.
But I'll go Dumpweed. Let's just stick with. I love a good intro. I'll go Dumpweed.
Well, I gotta go. All right, I'm gonna counter. I'm gonna give you a twofer. Okay. My favorite track and the one I feel is the most underrated. The last track, Anthem. I fucking adore that song.
That's a good song.
It's a really good song. It's a banger.
That's full tilt.
Yeah, no, it really is, and it's. It's. I just remember being young and listening to it and hear about I think he fucked the dog, and I thought that was so funny. But I don't know. Like they had a really good way of conveying emotion in songs that wasn't there. Like he's singing about fucking the dog, but there's something about Anthem that's just so like it's pop punk, but it was slower
very teen
song.
angst.
Yeah, like it's a bit of a slower song compared to the other things they do on the record.
I mean, until you get to that chorus, and then it's the probably, man, is it the? I think it might be the. Oh no, other than Party Song, it was like one of the only times they play like their classic Blink beat is a Party Song, and the chorus of Anthem are really the only times they play that fast punk beat that they played for the entirety of their career
Yeah,
up until now.
yeah, no, yeah, that
Yeah,
part pumps up a lot, and I just appreciate everything about that song, and foreshadowing what we cover in the next part of the podcast. Anthem Part 2 was the first song on Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
that's a good lead in. I like how they did that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So, is there anything you
Yeah,
think is underrated? Anything that you don't think got the recognition it deserved? I mean, there's so many bangers on this record.
I mean, don't leave me. I do love that. That's It is a Mark song,
Right.
and it was one of the ones written in 10 minutes. And well, it's a solid banger.
It is.
And but it's kind of buried. I forget actually what track that is on the album.
You want to talk about buried,
That's
dude? The party song. That's the least recognized. Like all of these, I feel like most Blink fans would know. The party song, I've never heard it played live. I've just never heard anything done with that, and that's a great song.
I've never seen anybody play that live.
Dude, it's
Ever.
just crazy. Like it's funny, but I just like the cadence of it, and it's punk as shit.
Do you want to come to the party?
Baby, I could just sing Blink all night, man. We can't do it on the podcast because we get thrown off the airwaves. But I just know we want to do it, folks.
Oh man, hey, this is also I think the first album where Tom's aliens obsession is starting to come out, where he gets the Aliens Exist song.
Oh, that's
Up
gonna be a
until
big part of the ending episode of this. It's gonna be.
I'll
Oh,
honestly probably need an extra week so I can go watch the massive amount of media
oh.
Angels and Airwaves times. I gotta go watch his movie Love, which I never saw. He's
That
got
was
like
in production for
3 or 4
8
books
years.
out now.
Yeah, Love was in production for 8 years. I remember when the trailer came out in 06, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, this could be awesome." And
It
then,
looked cool.
And then 12 years later, I was like, "What the fuck? What's going on, man?" But it eventually came out. It was great. But no, that's coming up later on. We can't wait for that. So now it's time. All right. We're looking at 6 songs from each man. And you know what? I'm going to leave this one off. All right. I'm going to change it up. I think
All right.
it's tough because if you're going in terms of singles and, like power like that, I mean, it's Mark. But
Mark won the singles game on this record.
yes, but if you're speaking as just a Blink-182 fan in terms of song quality based on my preferences, I go Tom DeLonge. I just all of his songs were so different. I mean, look at Anthem, Mutt, Dysentery Gary, Aliens Exist, and Dumpweed. All those songs are the riff, the tempo is so different. All the small things that was the banger single that propelled them to superstardom. I love Mark's contributions on this album, but the Tom DeLonge, the 6 songs that he brings to the table, I feel like if you're measuring it fighting game style and stats, Tom edges him out here.
Stats. Mark literally has What's My Age Again and Adams.
Yeah,
He crushes Tom's stats in this.
well, yeah. Yes, it depends on what stats
And-
we're talking here.
And Mark set the trend of nudity. With What's My Age Again? Oh, he forced an entire band to be naked for like 2 years straight.
All right, so
That's baller.
So I want to touch on that because that's on the videos, and we have a section here to talk about the videos. But so I'm gonna guess you're going with Mark.
Yeah, I'm going Mark.
All
I
right.
think yeah.
Well, the
Mark
opinions.
look at that list. That's a great list.
The opinions have been divided here. That's what we do this podcast for, to settle beef. We will fight in person. It's just social distancing. We really can't do it. All right. Let's do a little bit of video talk. Naked nudity. Oh boy. So all the small things video comes out, right? And it made fun of everything on TV. Like I bet you could have thought, I'll take my kids to a Blink concert. It'll be fun, like na 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 na. As Tom DeLonge said, like we lit up a big giant flaming F word, fuck behind us. to really put the message out there. We're not for kids. And as you mentioned, Mark Hoppus forced, and we're going to go ahead and say forced, nudity upon two other people that were not at all comfortable with it.
I definitely don't think Travis was coming.
No, and you can tell it just in the video. Tom sells it well, like he does. You can't really tell in his face, but anyway, for people who don't know what we're talking about, if you've been living under a rock, the first video that came. Well, what was the first single off of this one? Like,
I think "What's My Age Again" was the first one.
Oh, so they came. Was that the first video too? So they came right out of the gate with their wieners.
Yeah, out the gate with the wieners.
How do
they weren't playing around.
How do you transition from "What's My Age Again" to fucking Adam's song as singles with the videos that accompany them? How do you justify
I think at least Adam's songs was last, so that at least makes sense. I think it worked well because since Adam's song was about touring and so much with like interviews and MTV's a lot, it actually worked out because you had two massive videos that just forced them to do every goddamn media outlet, and then you had Adam's song, which I think was a perfect tail end video to that record, since it was just like, I'm sad that I just poured myself out for like 2 years straight.
Mm-hmm. Well, that pretty much wraps up the Enema eras, which were this band goes from SoCal local punk band to getting a little play on the national airwaves to just fucking blowing up in the course of 2 years, less than 1,000 days, which is insane.
I have one more funny fact.
Oh, please,
about this album. So the cover art, which is the famous, it's the porn star, and if there was a couple alternate covers, nothing dramatically changed, but there was one that had the Red Cross symbol, like I think it was like on her hat. Well, they got like a cease and desist letter from the Geneva Convention because it is in violation of the Geneva Convention to use the Red Cross symbol.
Really?
I would frame that letter and that would hang on my wall, that I'm in violation of the Geneva Convention.
For real, like that's something to be proud of. Well, thank you for ending our enema talk with those awesome facts. But now we move on to a brief. We'll briefly go over this, even though there's lots of notes. But we always say briefly, and we end up spending a lot of time because that's what deep dives are all about. The Mark, Tom, and Travis show, The Enema Strikes Back, the live album from 2000, which I forgot about. You had to remind me of since it's been recently put on Spotify.
Oh, I didn't forget about it, but yeah, they just added to Spotify. Very happy because I used to own it, and then I don't know, I lost it over the years somewhere. Who knows? And I was very happy it got added. When I started doing this research, I was like, oh, let me try and find that album. So, I found it.
What was the point of this record? Why'd they put it out? Was there a reason?
It's just a holdover. Yeah, it was essentially just they needed something to put out between that and the next big album, which is supposed to be the huge follow-up album. So they had two tours. They actually it was the Loser Kids tour, and then the Mark, Tom, and Travis show tour. And it's funny, this album wasn't actually recorded on the Mark, Tom, and Travis show tour. It was recorded off of the Loser Kids tour, but they didn't say that. It's like no, we recorded it from this tour and then we put it out.
They lied.
But they had recorded earlier, and they finished Man Overboard, and they put that on this. This is when the Man Overboard, when it finally came out, and then all the rumors started up about what it was about, because it's about kind of losing a friend to drinking. Yeah. So everybody is pretty sure it's about Scott Raynor.
And that's been, we've touched on that and like why he got kicked out, but that fact remains so unconfirmed. It remains such an enigma and a mystery of like, yeah, it was kind of drinking and he's gone. The story of him leaving the band is just, it's shrouded in like, we know it's deeper than that. we've seen people come in and out of bands. We've seen friends come in and out of our lives. Excuse me. Because they drink too much White Claws and burp on podcasts. But also, you know, like because of drinking, because of drugs, because of shit like that, you know there's more to it. You know? Like there's just something that's not getting told.
Yeah. And they were super secretive about all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you
Still.
said, they never even put it out. Oh, what's that? What do you got? Do you blow clouds, bro?
I've been doing this the entire every
Bro.
podcast I do this on video. I keep forgetting that I have my screen share on and I keep
Yeah,
popping the notes up.
I was like, I've just been looking at the notes, pretending like I'm talking to you. Look, now I can see you. Look at that beautiful face.
Yeah, here I am, dude. I do not keep any secrets from the viewers and listeners that this is a semi-professional operation. Hard, we're really emphasizing on the semi.
Oh yeah.
All right,
It's
so
okay.
this actually it's a pretty tight live album. They apparently recorded it over 2 days in California. And
Yeah, they had like back-to-back shows on something.
it only sold you
I
said
forget
for
what
2
venue.
months?
Yeah, that was a pain in the ass. I remember I had gotten a copy when it came out, and then I went back later because I think I broke my first one or scratched it or something because it was in CDs. So if you scratched it, you were fucked unless the toothpaste trick did the job, which it did not. And I remember I had to go buy it for way more than they sold for. And I
Yeah,
was very pissed.
Jesus. Well, they sold 500,000, which that's gold. I mean, that's no small feat.
For 2 months of sales.
Yeah, that thing would
500,000
have been huge if they.
for a holdover record. It wasn't even. It was just meant to just get him through to the next record. So I mean, that's a solid, and it's hilarious. So it's got a lot of Dude Ranch tracks and not the entire Enema album, but it's got most of it. I think it's actually missing Anthem and something else. Um, but at the end, there's like 50 secret tracks. Now I think it's, if you go on like Spotify, I think it's all compressed into one track. But when you had the CD, it was 50 secret tracks of 30 seconds of nonsense for each track of just Tom and Mark yelling at each other, singing dumb songs. I loved it. Travis hated it and did not want it on the album.
I wouldn't
He
want it
was
on
just
the
like,
album.
he was just like, you guys are funny like 60% of the time, at best.
You have the rest.
And they're like,
The rest is you hear me hitting drums on the rim, trying just to get them to play a song.
yeah.
What was this? You have here Mark and Tom try to get Travis to join in on the talking, but he refused all the time. He does.
They put like a mic by him and he just pushed it away. Oh god. Oh man. Oh, I don't know if you see the 2 bad reviews. I found some reviews of the album and I just took 2 little snippets of some of the reviews of this album. The first one is the tragic sound of 3 men desperately trying to avoid growing up, which is a great description of Blink-182 as a whole.
That's positive. That's positive to me. I don't know what the fuck you're negative.
And the other one is a wholly unwarranted, laughable, obnoxious marketing strategy of quickly flooding the market before their fans outgrow them.
And we never did.
No. Little did they know I'd be here. What was it? 20 years later talking about it.
Yes. Well, we've made it. We've made it all the way through the enemy years, but folks, we're not done. We're not. This
is the bulk of their career.
This really is. This is the meat of Blink-182, because we forget they break up after we have a few more things to cover, but they the breakup happens so quickly and so suddenly. But let's move on to, I would say, this is the peak. This is the crescendo of Blink-182. I know Self-Titled is a great record, but I mean, this is where things are at their peak seems like creatively, the tightness of the album, the refined sound. Because one thing I want to say before we even get into Take Off Your Pants and Jacket is that it's in every way, shape, and form just like a direct sequel to Enema of the State. Just like Zelda games. You know, like they're all a little different, but every now and again you have a direct, like The Legend of Zelda and The Legend of Zelda 2, they're direct sequels. Breath of the Wild has a sequel, like a direct sequel to it. But some of the other games are just all the fuck out, you know, they're all spread around the timeline. This seems like a direct, just like this is the sequel to Enema of the State.
Which, in theory, is also the reason the death of Blink-182 happened.
Yes. Yes.
Well, not death, but this is the album that starts a lot of shit.
Well, what do you know about that dissension, my friend?
So Mark, Tom, and Travis show was supposed to be a holdup, and it was supposed to buy him some time, and that was what everybody thought was going to happen. But MCA was just like, nope, we got to pump out a record, and Tom pleaded with them and was just like, no, we need time. You cannot rush this. I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of things I want to try, things I want to do. Like, we just literally put out 2 records in, 2 years. What was 2000? Yeah, so 2 records in 2 years. That did great. Like, let me get a couple months to just relax and write.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, and we're going to start fining you and penalizing you if you don't. So that's not a great start to writing and recording an album.
No.
And that already starts everybody off on the wrong foot, especially Tom. This is where Tom.
Yeah, it's still a creative process. These are creative people. You can't just be like, oh, do another one. And I guess that is why I didn't think of it that way. That's why it seems like such a direct sequel in so many ways, because Dude Ranch is totally different than Enema of the State. This is totally different than Self-Titled. That gave me something to think about. I'm like at a loss.
Yeah.
That's really like, oh shit. Because I was going to praise that. Because I like that. I like that idea of, I feel like every now and again a direct sequel is cool and warranted. And people want to see more of it. I'll relate to video games again. The Metal Gear 1, 2, and 3. People loved that. But then Metal Gear Solid 4 comes out and people are like, okay. Like, we stop now? And they released a 5th game. And they're like, okay, we need to, it's time to pump the brakes on this shit.
Let's get back to basics.
Yes, let's get back to the basics. The series doesn't exist anymore. So that's as basic as you can get.
Yeah.
Anywho, so MCA. So this is the end of the MCA era, though, correct? They don't do another record with the MCA after this, right?
Right. Well, I actually think MCA gets swallowed up by Geffen Records, I think, after this. Well, not quite after this. I mean, MCA is still around, a little Boxcar years. Mm-hmm. But after that, MCA, I don't even think it exists. I think it just gets swallowed up by Geffen Records. So it's just gone anyways.
All right.
So good riddance.
Yeah. Let's touch real quick before I got a couple things here, but when we dive into the album, before that, tell the folks, I love reading this. Tell them about the video for The Rock Show, the first single off the album.
Oh, like just about and what I found.
Yes. Yeah, because I'm looking at some shit. You found some fun shit.
All right, so just off the bat, if you haven't seen the video, they give the band like $500,000 budget, and they go out and they buy this van and they drive around and shave. I think they like shave a guy's head and give him money. I think they buy like a homeless dude stuff. They drop like a fancy car from a crane. Like they do a bunch of shit, and it's pretty funny. Skip ahead to literally yesterday. I happened to be on some Blink-182 fan site in like Brazil, and they posted something that somebody in another Blink-182 fan site found the van in a junkyard, and we tracked it. Like it was hilarious. We tracked it down. They had all the photos of the old van. They tracked it down. I think it's in Sacramento, I believe. in a junkyard. We found the junkyard, and there's a guy who's trying to buy it back to restore it and put it back on the road, just like Blink-182.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll get a nice cease and desist letter in
Uh,
a little bit.
well, and I guess the reason it ended up there, when they were touring, they were putting it out front of the venues, and I guess there was a show I guess around Sacramento or somewhere, and they gave it away to a fan, and I guess the fan just gave up on the van and sent it to the junkyard.
It's like you would at least want to keep it for decoration.
I mean, they let it fall to shit. It looks rough.
Yeah. Well,
So there's a lot of restoring on it.
Right, and I do want to let the folks at home know, and I feel like this needs to be said. You very briefly brushed over, like, yeah, I was just on this Blink-182 fan site. Tyler is on the Mexican Blink-182 fan site, the Brazilian Blink-182 fan site. This has gotten so deep within the fiber of his being. This quarantine, the deadly combination of this quarantine and this is this assignment that I've just bestowed upon him. It's sent the poor man just insane.
My Facebook feed is so. I literally have 10 to 15 Blink posts, and then I'll get like Governor Hogan talking about the coronavirus, and then back to Blink.
That's the way it should be. All right, so where does I like the story. Where does the name for the album come?
So I found, so it's a funny story, but a sad story at the same time. So they were being rushed to make this album, and Tom and Mark, they were having trouble coming up. They had a bunch of different names kind of going. Some of the alternate names were If You See K, but it's just F-U-C-K, fuck. But it's like If You See K. And then another one was Genital Ben. And I actually had to remember this. There was a Gentle Ben. I can't remember if it was like a movie or what it was, but it was a character. And so it was just going to play on Gentle Ben as Genital Ben. But they were having trouble. They didn't like any of the names. And their guitar tech, Larry Palm, he was on like a snowboarding trip. And he heard like a mom off to the side. Like, I guess a kid came in from the snow. And he heard her say, like, well, just take off your coats and jacket, or and he brought it back to Tom. And Tom was just like, dude, that's hilarious. Take off your pants and jacket, and dude, if we use that, we'll hook you up. And they ended up using it, and I think they sent him like $500, and he was pissed, and he sued and got $20,000. Or no, he sued for $20,000.
Got
and
10.
They settled for 10.
That makes them seem like dickheads.
That wasn't a good look on their. I mean, I also don't know how involved they were in it. I know that Jerry Finn gave him the check, so who knows how involved they were? I'm sure they were involved.
Yeah,
$500 seems. Hey, you couldn't even get up to thousands. Like, come on.
Yeah, you made that playing a club gig. But anywho, I love this part. Okay, they channeled their inner Led Zeppelin. There's, if people who don't know, it's pants, jacket, and a plane. It's stoplight. It's green, yellow, and red. Now let's touch on which band member was assigned each symbol. A bit of foreshadowing, maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up now. The plane, the pants and the jacket were assigned to Tom and Mark. Doesn't really matter. That's what the ones they wanted, and they were just like, Travis, you get to be the plane, who did not want to be the plane because terrified of flying. And if you know anything about Travis Barker, you know that he gets into a horrible plane accident in the future. So it was
horrible.
Looking back on it, it's pretty fucked up.
Well, I think it's like nervous laughter, like when you just got enough, like, yeah, we really like this. Yeah, he was in a crash. What do you want us to say? It was, and we'll definitely really cover it, but I mean, him and DJ Am were the only survivors, and like, has PTSD. Like, he was already afraid of flying before this too. Which is just even darker.
Didn't help. He doesn't fly anymore now. He just takes cruise ships everywhere.
Yeah, that might be tough now with the coronavirus. So we'll see how that works out for him.
Shit is real.
What were the hidden tracks assigned to each album?
I mean, essentially, they're written down. We kind of hit them because I think I marked them down in the game. But yeah, basically so funny. Here's how the secret tracks came about. So when they had been, I think, recording, they'd been writing music for like 9 weeks, something like that. And the studio execs wanted to come in, the recording execs, they wanted to come in and, check it out, see where they're at, see where the records come along. So Mark and Tom, they play 3 songs for them. And the 3 songs that they chose, let's see, there we go. So they played Fuck a Dog. They played another song about fucking Mark's mom. And the other one, which I did not know this until I did this research, the song When You Fucked Grandpa used to be When You Fucked Hitler. And that was what they played. It used to be When You Fucked Hitler. And apparently their tour manager, I guess, was on tour with like Pearl Jam or something, or I forget what the story was, but like he called them up and was like, "Hey guys, I don't think you should have a song about Hitler on your album." And they were like, "All right, we'll just change the words to Grandpa. Hitler, Grandpa."
It's a bad look.
Yeah. So those are the 3 songs they played for the studio exec, and they were acoustic. They weren't even like recorded electric songs. It was 3 acoustic songs: When You Fucked Hitler, Fuck a Dog, and a song about fucking Mark's mom. And MCA flipped the fuck out. And Tom was just like, he was like, "It's funny, like we did it as a joke, but I don't think they were ready for when we were like, no, really, we do want these on the album."
Yeah, like we got to get these on somewhere.
MCA was just like, "Okay, look, we'll give you 1 joke song on the album," which ended up being When You Fuck Grandpa, or like the Happy Holiday song. And we'll give you secret tracks. So it was kind of a win-win. They put out 3 different versions of the album. I mean, well, there's like technically like 4 or 5, but 3 different, when it came out, it was 3 different versions of the album, each with each band member symbol and that color of the album. And each one had 2 secret tracks on it. So that's how they got all the joke songs. And it was usually like 1 joke song and 1 serious song. Mm-hmm. That essentially just didn't make the cut of the album. To which some of the serious songs should have been on the album.
Hold On, Time to Break Up are 2 of my favorite, and it's a shame that they're not on the main release.
What went wrong? Jeez. That was a beautiful song.
That song hurts. That song hurts, man.
That came directly inspired from Green Day had put out Good Riddance around this time, and Tom was just like, "Oh shit, can I do that? Like, can I put out," because they write all their songs acoustic anyway.
Yeah.
And then they make them electric. So they're like, "Well, shit, like I didn't know, like that look. There's so many other genres out there. Like, why are we limiting to just this? Like, I'm going to go record an acoustic song," and that's why I did What Went Wrong.
Well,
which forebodes to other stuff.
Yes, and does it for? But there's such an insane amount of just foreshadowing with the blink-182 story for those who know how it ends and kind of revives and ends again and then revives again. There's just so many little things that you don't pick up on until you do what we're doing now, just going through the entirety of the career. But this, I didn't know this one. So they weren't just making records; they were writing books, right? They had a biography.
Yeah, and I remember I didn't actually buy this book, but I think I kept going to like Barnes and Noble, and I just like read a little bit at a time. And it was Tales from Beneath Your Mom, classic. But yeah, that was. I mean, I think that's the only band sanctioned bio out there. It was written by them, and then Mark's sister. She helped do a lot of the
Right.
band stuff off to the side.
Yeah, and they got into a little trouble with the Federal Trade Commission. They...
Yeah, these dudes. I mean, with the Geneva Convention on the
This is
last one,
ramping
and
up.
this
Like,
one, yeah, the Federal Trade Commission went after them for marketing explicit material to children.
How far did they get?
Not very far. I mean, it was kind of just like throwing shit at them, and they just kind of went like this.
Dude, and it's hard. It's hard not to understand, why people were so pissed off with wonderful reviews like this. You provided this one for us, but fuck, I want to read it so bad. All right, bad reviews include Blink-182 are now indistinguishable from the increasingly tedious, quote, teenage dirtbag drama they help spawn. Quote, it sounds like all that sanitized, castrated, shrink-wrapped, new wave crap that the major U.S. record companies pumped out circa 1981 in their belated attempt to jump on the punk, quote, bandwagon. It's like, whoa, who has time to sit and write shit that fucking poisonous?
So, dude, and those are just like some of the best bad reviews. I found a bunch of bad reviews. People hated, other critics hated Blink. There was far and few between. Like, I think until you get to Untitled, everybody shits on them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and even then, I haven't even dove deep into the Untitled yet. But I'm sure I'll still find some good bad ones. Yeah. They've been some of the best to read.
Oh God, and I please send as many as you can to me because they are hysterical. You can make a comedy fucking novel out of this shit. Fucking reviewers. Anywho, I of course September the 11th happens around this time, which that change. I always say I feel like I've heard it said before. This can't be an original quote by me. That the 90s truly died on 9/11. Like the attitude of the 90s, the hopefulness of the 90s, the upbeat sort of nature of the 90s, it died that day and everything kind of became dark. Movies about the future became about dystopia instead of fucking Rocket Boy or whatever the fuck that one, like Rocket Boy's 1999, man. Like that shit's fucked.
Fuck is Rocket Boy?
I'm getting it wrong. There's a cartoon called Rocket Boy, and it's about the year 1999. It's like
that's not the guy. It's Mega Man, the one with the arm.
He's like Mega Man. I rocket something. I don't fucking know. Rocket boots. I don't give a shit. But they had to postpone 2 tours around this time, right?
Dude, Blink did so much, like all the tour they postponed. Like from this point on, I feel like every single tour they do gets postponed or fucked with. Yeah, I mean they had to push off. What was it? I think 2 tours because of 9/11, but also I think Tom gets sick, Travis gets sick, Tom throws his back out. His back becomes a huge issue during this album and the following tour. His back getting hurt plays a huge part in what comes next with Boxcar Racer.
Yeah, and
but 9/11
starts here,
and yeah, and dude, there's so many. This is when riding in vans with boys video comes out, and like all like the pop disaster tour happens, and like you can kind of see everybody. Like, I mean, it's tour, so everybody's drinking anyways, but yeah, a lot of shit happens in this this next year. A lot between 9/11 and moving on to the Untitled album. So much shit happens. Just everybody's life changes, and shit goes down.
It's the biggest amount of change, and dude, they changed drummers. Like when they changed from Raynor to Barker, you would think that's the biggest change. That's huge. That's gigantic. But from 2001 to 2003, everything, like you said, just everything changes, and it never goes back to the way it was. I feel like this is the time where, when you reach a certain point in a relationship with anybody, whether it's a friendship or a lover or anything like that, something can happen, and it's just, you can love that person with all your heart, but like, that happened. That shit happened, and it doesn't go away. You can try to move on from it, you can, but all that bad blood is still there, and it's starting to seep in. Now, I like this little note you put here, and I'm curious where you got it from, because, again, it's something you don't think about. So, Pop Disaster Tour, of course, was Jimmy will cut you up. All right?
Most importantly, cut you up.
Cut you up, yes. The movie was about Cut You Up, pretty much, who happened to be on this tour. But everyone knows the Pop Disaster Tour was about Jimmy Eat World, blink-182, and, of course, Green Day. Green Day are one of the tightest trios since fucking, like, Rush. Cream. They are the Rush or Cream of punk rock trios. I think it's fair to say.
They are very tight. Well, at this point, there's been a bit of a gap. They've kind of not fallen off. There's been a bit of a gap in between, when Blink came out, and they haven't really put out much. And this is before, what's the one with a minority on it? Warning.
Yeah.
So this is before they put out Warning, but after Dookie, and this is that middle period where all these pop punk bands started pumping out. So they actually kind of started falling to the wayside a little bit, and people were kind of saying like, "Oh, you fell off," and whatever. So this tour was supposed to be, and everybody was talking shit about like, "Oh, there's so much beef between Green Day and Blink," and like, "Oh, they hate each other," which is fucking stupid. But this tour actually, so I'm going to make another note about this. When I researched this, I hadn't researched Boxcar Racer yet. And this ties into Boxcar Racer. So the Pop Disaster Tour happens after Boxcar Racer.
What?
I did not realize that.
What?
Yes. This happens after Boxcar Racer. So this next note makes a lot of sense. So the note I found, and I had to track this down because I could not find the context, and I had to search the internet deep, and I finally found an interview with Tom DeLonge who talks about this. But basically, in an article, Trey Cool said that Blink-182 wanted to quit the tour at a certain point because they were getting blown out of the water every night, but they should stick around because they were good for filling seats. So Trey Cool started talking shit, but I couldn't tell if it was just joking or fucking around, But I found Tom, and he was like, no, he would be talking shit. And this, you take conjecture, you can take whatever you want. But this is after Boxcar. So Green Day blowing Blink out of the water kind of makes sense at this point because Tom and Mark, this is when they start butting heads, and this is when shit starts going down. And it's before Untitled record, but this is when a lot of strife is happening between the band members. Right. So if they were getting blown out of the water, it would make sense. I found that fact, and I didn't realize the timeline. And this was after Boxcar Racer went on tour. Boxcar Racer's tour ended. He left for Pop Disaster Tour, I think, like the next day.
Jesus.
It was that close.
Well, all right. So real quick though, I did, and that's crazy. I actually had no idea about that. That's exclusive information that I feel like not a lot of people would know. That's why we're doing this podcast. Thank you for your tireless efforts, sir. But
I try.
You put a note in here, all right, and it's a personal attack at me, and you already fucking know exactly what it is, so I'll read it. Now, as a lot of people do know who personally know me, and if you don't, you're about to find out. Jimmy Eat World is my absolute favorite group in the universe. Like, I cannot describe how much I love this band. This piece of shit, Tyler, put Jimmy Eat World performed at Tom's wedding reception. You jealous? And yeah, I am.
Dude, you know how lit that wedding probably was?
Dude, I don't want to think about it, you know, because I've been to some fun weddings, but my God, I would
And
not. You
everyone,
know what? I would have lost it though, because look here, I'll tell a real quick story, and then we'll do the album game because
where is it? Let's first. This is
please,
2001.
yes,
Did Bleed or was not Bleed America? What's the hell's their album called? With the one with the middle on it.
Bleed American.
Okay. Oh, okay, yeah.
It is Bleed American.
What year did that come out?
Oh one, so it had already been out. They were getting ready. This was them leading up
Ooh.
to I can't fucking remember the name of that. The 2004 one that had work on it, that had killed, that like I can't remember it. That was a kick-ass follow-up. Like Jimmy Eat World though, they put out the same, like I feel like they don't have the same problems that Tom DeLonge has. They just like, yeah, we like putting out Jimmy Eat World shit. We're cool.
We're fine. It's fine. We just do what we want.
All right. Now I need a favor from you, sir, and we're gonna do this together, okay? I'm
ready.
Thank goodness that I have right here. This door is my bathroom. I'm gonna take a White Claw pee while I switch to this, and you are going to give your favorite song on Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Oh, dude, you're so lucky. I have to pee so bad. All right, so favorite song off of this album. There's actually a ton of songs on that album, and I mean, honestly, I talked about it earlier about Tom's secret song. Oh, you know, it's funny. I think I left it off this list. It's been wrong, but Reckless Abandon is probably the one I go back to the most. I actually lean way more on Tom's side this album than Mark's side. And funny story actually about some of the singles off this. So you see Tom wrote First Date, Mark wrote The Rock Show. And the reason those songs came about is when they showed all their songs to their manager, like the record exec, he came in and he was like, yeah, those are cool, but where's that, classic blink-182 summer fun time, anthem song? And Tom and Mark were so fucking pissed. They're just like, fuck you. You know what? You want your goddamn fucking single? I'm going to go home and write the cheesiest, throwaway, stupid fucking summertime song. And they went home. Mark wrote The Rock Show in 10 minutes again. Tom went home and wrote First Date. And now they have to play those songs for the rest of their fucking lives.
They played themselves.
And those were they wrote the two biggest songs on the album out of spite, which is the best way to write a song, when you write your hits out of spite. It's
a spite hit. It's a diamond crusted spite fuck.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you heard me, but I went with Reckless Abandon.
No, I heard. I'm very, like I said, my bathroom's very close. It's awesome.
Very close. All right, well then, here, you talk about the album first. I can desperately go pee.
No, you go do your thing, and this is what happens when you're on for an hour and a half, which we've already done.
Here comes the best part. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Oh, this is going to be great. Here we go.
This is some Blink-182 shit.
Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker.
Okay. All right. So to the soundtrack of you taking a tinkle.
Go to sniper mode.
Let me silencer mode. Let me give you mine. All right, going Bravo 6 going dark. All right. I love God. So Tom has the most songs. I feel like he has the best ones right now. I love, and you don't have it on here, but it's one of the secret tracks. Hold On. Hold On's my favorite. It's so good, and it's underrated too. Like it's because of course it was on the fucking the secret tracks.
2 secret tracks.
Yeah.
Dude, I forgot the other one. What Went Wrong? Yeah, I forgot to put them on there too.
Yeah, it's all good.
Classic.
We're doing what we can here. We've given these fine people so much content, and we still have Boxcar Racer to go over. I love this. I'm gonna come out and say it too, just with the amount of stuff. Like you have First Date, Anthem Part 2, which Anthem Part 2 always felt like an unofficial single to me. You know what I mean?
It's a good hit. Well, they put it out. They did put out a live recording of it. Shit, I forget with with what, but that's actually out there in the world as a live recording. I
Greatest
feel like
hits,
they wanted
maybe.
to make that. Oh, you know what? I think it might be on the greatest hits.
Maybe I can't remember either because I had greatest hits too. I love that record. I like. I feel like they
It was just all their songs.
no like here they did it. No, like here. This is why I like it. It felt like because they had the right version of Carousel on there. It felt like one record. You know what I mean? Like if you listen to it cover to cover, it. I enjoyed the way
Which one's the right version?
the one where it's just the bass. The bass comes in the do 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 do. You know what I mean? Not the
You don't
electric
like the
intro.
extended intro?
Yeah.
Ah, see, I like the extended intro.
Mm.
It's
It's divisive amongst the fan base, I believe. Yeah, nah, I give this one to Tom. There's just so many great songs, so many great singles, and he did kind of bear the brunt of, in a small way, but the amount of songs that he wrote.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually siding with you on this. I think Tom did better. I mean, he does pump out more. Yeah, I was like I said, I forgot a song on here too. So even just the amount of songs he pumped out, even though one of them's "Fuck a Dog,"
Mm.
um, and some of the like, I think it's "Every Time I Look for You." Like, there's a couple of Mark songs that they're just indiscriminate, like not necessarily about
Mm-hmm.
anything. So I think Tom was pissed off, and I think he wrote a great album out of spite.
He did, and this transfers into our next portion, our final portion of my God, this awesomely epic deep dive into Blink-182. We're moving away from Blink-182 now. We're going to Boxcar Racer, which I loved this time. I remember going to pick up this album at the Kmart in Crofton Center. I remember going there with my mom after school and picking it up, and just the maroon cover, everything about it was different. But I was such a Blink-182 mark that I got it and I fell in love with it from the first piano little intro that leads into that heavy ass I Feel So song. It's just such a special record, and I'm very glad Tom DeLonge got to do it. I think he deserved to do it. It's good enough for him to do. Like this was very justified. Hearing the final product.
I listened to this album like 4 to 5 times the other day when I was doing the research for this, and it's this is kind of a fun process because I get to rediscover everything again. I don't actively listen to Blink regularly, so this has been a fun process. And going back to Boxcar Racer, I forgot just how it's great to watch somebody write an album without any expectations, because he actually had no intention of this being a band. He didn't even know wanted to do with these songs. He was like, I'm just gonna go write an album. He didn't think it was gonna get picked up by a record company. He was like, I don't know, I might, this is kind of, the internet's becoming a thing. Like, I could probably just put it out, whatever. And he ended up writing a fucking fantastic album.
It is. I I say this like with a heavy, heavy conscience, loving Blink-182 as much as I do, up until this point, and I'm not including self-titled or anything that comes after it. I feel like this was the best Blink-182 album, and I'm putting it up air quotes. It has all of the elements of your Blink album, but I think it grew up a little bit, like we did. Like, if young kids will listen to Blink, of course, but like you also have that hardcore fan base. Like, we're getting a little older now. Like, we need a little more substance in our songs. We need to relate to it a little bit more, And
Yeah.
this was definitely more mature.
And I mean, this album is straight fueled by Tom's back pain and hating being forced to stay in this Blink mold that he wanted to evolve, and MCA pushing him. I mean, it was an album written out of pain and spite.
Mm-hmm.
He thrives. He thrives in this little bubble of just fuck.
Fuck this. But this also, it's another funny thing people don't realize. It sowed the seeds for Angels and Airwaves because David Kennedy came in and did he play on the record at all, or he was just a live guitarist?
No, he was the first member brought in, I believe. And because he already knew Tom, and Tom got him because Tom originally he wasn't like, we can kind of get into it, but Travis Barker being in this band is probably the biggest reason shit goes south. And Tom didn't intend necessarily to get Travis. He was gonna go grab like a bunch of other friends. Like the guy they got to play bass, like I literally have no info on him. Like he just went and grabbed dudes, but he didn't want to pay for like a session drummer, so he just asked Travis. But Kennedy was, they knew each other, and yeah, they ended up playing together. I mean, they're still together in Angels and Airwaves. I saw them live. He did great. He did fine.
Yes. And we will cover Angels and Airwaves in depth. I think that comes that's the fourth. The fourth part is going to include Plus 44 and Angels and Airwaves, which we haven't even mentioned Plus 44 yet.
That doesn't happen yet. We're getting there.
Well, we're moving along. But this incredible tension's building up between, again, three really great friends that are giant super megastars, and I can understand Tom DeLonge wanting to just have more to do creatively, but I can understand Mark and even Travis to an extent be like, dude, we got a great thing going, why can't we just what's going on? This is great, why do you want to do anything else? And this seems like it's a big intrusion on the peak of their career. So I can understand Mark to a point, but he's a peacock.
Yeah.
You gotta let him fly.
But Tom did make a point to do this in his off time. Mm-hmm. He kept saying, he's like, look, I'm not going to interfere with anything. Like, I just want to go do something because since 1994, 93, everything he's done has been with this other half. So I get having that, like, can I even do this on my own? Do I have the capability, like, to write something great? Because I mean, he wrote this album. Like, Travis helped write, but Travis really just like helped arrange stuff. This is Tom wrote it through and through.
It's essentially the other guys a solo record.
Little bit. Oh yeah, he made it well known. He went in there and made it known. He was like, I'm writing this. That's the whole point of this. Like, this isn't a band. This is my experiment. That's it.
Tom had an experiment. He had an experiment. He didn't like it. So now things are going to go back to normal, Tom and his experiment.
Yeah. Can Mark asked to be on the record. He's like, dude, do you? He's like, can I play bass on it? Like, he was like, you can write it all or whatever. Tom was like, no, because it'll just turn into a Blink album. That's not what I want. He's like, I love Blink, but it's not what I want to do. I don't want to get trapped in that bubble again. He's like, especially if MCA gets wind of this. He's like, they're just going to try and hijack it, and then it won't be this tiny little pain bubble album that he gets to just make weird noises on and experiment with and play thick, heavy, grungy guitars and just really dive into that like Fugazi sound that he loves.
Yeah. And the song that Mark Hoppus did eventually come to sing on, which it seemed it was referred to as an offering from Mark Hoppus in an interview. He sings on Elevator, which is, I love that song. It's probably one of my favorite songs on that record. It's it's like 2 or 3 for me. But that sounds, I hear that and I'm like, I don't think I would have liked a whole album of this. I like how it's one. Like, I don't want another Blink album. I want to know it. I want to know the end of this story that Tom's telling. So I like that song, but it almost feels a little out of place.
Yeah, I remember when I listened to the album and I heard Mark's voice. Oh shit! It's like, hey, you let him on. Good for you.
Good. That was really nice of you.
Everybody knew what it was. I mean, you did not know what it was. Like, everybody knew it was like, here, I still love you. It's okay.
Yeah, and so this one, MCA did end up putting out this record, though, right?
Yeah, I forget. I think they got wind of it. They heard Tom. You can't not catch wind of this happening, but Tom said like if they didn't buy it and put it out, he was going to front the money. But his manager was just like, if MCA is willing to foot the bill, let them foot the bill. Like always, let them foot the bill. It's like why take the risk on this side project? It's like fuck it. You've dumped plenty of time and money into this. Let them do whatever. And yeah, because I think they recorded this one. They did recorded this one in 6 weeks. So they took. He didn't want to do the 4-5 month recording thing. He didn't want it to sound super polished. He wanted to have that like DIY, grungier. We fucking went in, recorded it, and left, and this is what we got kind of sound.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why it sounds like it does. That was done purposefully.
Rough
Yeah.
around the edges is a good way to describe it.
Yes.
I was gonna say needs refining, but no, that's just me being tired and not being able to find the right combination of words there.
Yeah.
I see in the notes here, and I agree with it. So apparently, lack of communication is the key here. That Travis Barker joins Boxcar Racer thinking, oh yeah, my friends have probably talked about this already. I can't imagine they haven't, but turns out that wasn't the case.
Yeah, because Tom asked Travis to play, and so yeah, he was just like, "Well, Mark and Tom are literally attached at the hip. I'm sure they discussed this. Yeah, man, whatever. I'll come play drums and everything." But that is not what happened, and Mark kind of just found out by accident that this whole other band was started, and that is the catalyst that literally defines the next 15 years of their career.
Yeah.
This is where everything hits ahead.
The rubber is meeting the road, as they say.
Mark does not take this well, and Tom does his best to be like, it's not about you, it's about me. But Tom is also evolving. He is changing. He doesn't, whereas like on Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, Mark loved Enema, and Mark wanted to do Enema 2.0, but bigger and better and broader. Tom, he already wanted to do the Untitled album. That was already the sound he wanted. Mm-hmm. He wanted to move on. Well, I mean, that's why he did Boxcar Racer. Tom, he never came out and said it necessarily, but in an interview, a couple interviews that I found, when people asked him why he disbanded Boxcar, he said it served its purpose. Mm-hmm. It got what I needed to get done. And I think the whole purpose of it was to show the world, hey, this is what we could sound like. We don't have to stay in the same place. I can grow. I did grow. You guys said I couldn't grow. Fuck you. Look at what I fucking put out. And they, Mark, Tom, like they all talked a lot. Mark, he was going to the studio, and even though he wasn't on the album, he was still talking with them and hanging out with them, and he was talking about ideas for the Untitled album. And he was starting to come along. It's like, yeah, you know what? Let's experiment. Let's push ideas. And even he started being like, I have a couple ideas too. Like we can do this and we can do that. And so Boxcar Racer served its purpose. It is a very double-edged sword. Boxcar Racer is the absolute reason we get the Untitled album, but it is the absolute reason we get everything that happens after that.
Yeah, it's like spoiler alert without a spoiler. It's like a show that's been out for a while, but like if you weren't following it at the time, and I was also a little young for it too, like going through, you don't realize how fucking crazy it was. How crazy shit's about to get. Even a couple, like up until a couple years ago, just wacky, insane shit. mainly perpetrated by one Mr. Tom DeLonge.
Tom, dude, you know how much of a headache I'm gonna get from going through the research of the back and forth between lawyers and managers I'm gonna have to read through.
Yeah, I'll give you some more. Like the first, it's funny. This is gonna build because the first episode we did, it was like 45 minutes. We get in, we get out. There's a minimal amount of research. This one, we've already been on for an hour and 40 minutes, and we still need to break this album down, right? But I feel like, the next one's gonna be like 3 hours. It's gonna be out of control. We've let this spiral, and I love it, and it makes me happy.
I was very happy the other day when you said we should stop this one at Boxcar, because I was about to do the research for Untitled. I'm like, fuck, I don't know, man. I'm already so deep.
Yeah, it's too much.
I have so much to talk about already.
But Boxcar is the begin. It's the end and the beginning. Like it's a good place to leave it. Because Untitled is an entirely different era.
Yeah.
And we also get you did ask one thing of me, okay, for the Boxcar Racer, talk. So I will real quick give you my favorite song and an underrated song. All right, so I'll touch on it real quick. My favorite songs, I Feel So. Okay, it's right off the bat. I love the piano intro. I love everything. I love that song. It's a great way to kick off the album. I feel like it sets the tone for this is what this is. This isn't Blink. This is different. It's a little bit like Blink, but it's my shit. And this is what
piano now.
Like. Yeah, there's piano in this now, and it's heavy. But it's got. I like the long intro. He doesn't start singing for a while, till like a minute into the song. I think it's a great.
Well, the radio version was much shorter. But yeah, yes. I remember when I listened to the album, I was like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah.
I forgot. Oh, they have a radio that doesn't have a minute and a half of piano.
Mm-hmm. And just there's that long intro too. That's a really rockin' long intro. But my underrated track, and the one that I promised you I'd sing for you. So Cat Like Thief, featuring Tim Armstrong of Rancid, who, much like Bob Dylan, is an acquired taste. And I'll be honest, I've never quite acquired that taste. It's not there. But this song, I like. And especially, all right. I fell down a gamble, can't complain. Not a fault that damn. Don't
What is he saying there?
Don't leave her, don't leave her, don't leave her.
Oh, that's right.
I was able to text you, and I'll spell it out. Doney. Right? Doney Ba, B-A-H. And I just texted you, Doney Ba, and you knew exactly what I was talking about.
Oh, God.
This song is insane.
You do a great transplants as well. Oh, God.
Bombs going off like Stella's bomb. Take a more than a come along. Follow your dome. Right, real quick, I gotta do this. Ryan Yeager, a friend to me and you, he pointed this out to me. We used to work for a junk hauler company, right? And we would show each other music back and forth. We had a little aux cable in our boxcar, which is fucking funny. A box truck, whatever you want to call it. But we were listening to the Transplants. He's like, dude, this band's dynamic is the same on every song. Travis Barker plays a kick-ass weird drum beat. Tim Armstrong comes in and sings like he's just fucking just shot up some dope. And then that rap guy just comes on and screams. It is.
I shot in heaven.
Oh yeah, I shot in heaven. No, I'm gonna wake my baby up.
That's my favorite one you do. You would just, when we were on tour, you would just yell that for no necessary reason, and it would make me just crack up.
Michelle just
Transplants, man.
I shouldn't have done that.
You tell her I made you do that.
Yeah.
The baby is in the room with you.
Michelle, transplants.
It's the transplants. Thank God this is near the end of the podcast. Yeah, no, I started to lose my traction
All
there.
right.
Yes. When we
Favorite
cover the
song. You said
transplants.
I feel so.
Yes, I feel so. What's your favorite record?
All right. Watch the world.
Oh yeah.
Multiple reasons. It's got a lot of, again, this is where Tom's well, so the whole album is about like the end of the world kind of deal, and it's like a storyline. But Watch the World is awesome drum beat. So as a drummer, I love that. But it's also he's starting to let out more of his aliens, conspiracy, just all that shit he's about to unleash upon the world, and it's great.
Yes. Well, man, we have through almost 2 hours, the course of 2 hours. Look at that shirt. Oh my God, the love shirt. You freaking Mark. You freaking Mark. But we have, over the course of almost 2 hours here, gone through, well, we say it's the meat of their career, but it's about to get weird. Because this we covered, of course, Enema of the State through Boxcar Racer. This was only 3 years. We have
And like barely 3 years.
Barely 3
This is like
years.
the end of 1990.
Yeah, so it's more like 2.5 years. And all of this happens. Things are about to get crazy because on the next edition of this, it may be 6-part series because we're gonna have to do like a wrap up show. Like
I want to do a trivia show at the end for you.
Oh God, it'll be like we'll do like a Talking Dead type thing. Like let's talk about the show
Yes.
now. This is our
Gotta,
Tiger King.
we got to bring on. We have to bring on Greg.
Yes.
As Talking Dead always had like the #1 fan on there.
Yes.
Greg, I know you're gonna watch this. You get to be, I forget her name, but she was always on the Talking Dead as like the #1 Walking Dead fan. You get to be that fan.
You're in. Well, that's it for us on this edition of M3 Live. You can watch this usually live. We may pre-tape this series going forward because of how long it is. And we may have, I'm actually calling this now. We're going to have to take a break during the next one. We're going to have to take a halftime break. So this will be M3 Not So Live. This is M3 Not So Live, number 8. From Barkers and Boxcars, which I fucked the title up, but I'm leaving it, with my co-host for this entire series, Tyler Cetera. You can watch me live at twitch.tv/Kilgo92, and this Travis Barker apologist over here, he's all over the internet. He's just doing stuff all the time. He's a mover. He's a shaker.
I don't post much. Yeah. Catch me on the gram. I might post something once or twice a month.
But you catch him
Tops.
Here. He's our boy. All right? He's homegrown talent. But that's
I'm starting my career as a podcaster.
Yes, we're doing it. We're doing this together on this glorious deep dive. But that is it for us at M3 Live, number 8. We love you, and we'll see you next time.